The human female sat in the corner of the observation cell, her legs crossed beneath her, eyes closed. I watched from behind the reinforced barrier, as my superior officer, Commander Vethix of the Kaldrathi sovereignty, paced back and forth with increasing agitation. "She has been like this for 6 rotations," he hissed through his mandibles. "No food, no water, just sitting there like a broken machine." I tapped my recording device, noting the timestamp. "Perhaps the specimen is entering a dormancy phase, Commander." "Dormancy?" Vethix's eye stalk swiveled toward me with barely contained irritation. "Research specialist Morven. This creature walked through a minefield to reach our extraction point. She killed 4 of our combat units with nothing but a metal rod and what I can only describe as pure, unfiltered rage. Does that sound like something that goes dormant?" He had a point there. I would not admit it aloud, of course. That would be unprofessional. The human designation Kira Volkov had been collected from the 3rd planet of System 7749, a world the inhabitants called Earth. Our initial surveys suggested a primitive species, barely past nuclear capability, fragmented into competing tribal nations. Easy prey for resource extraction and potential labor conscription. We were wrong. Catastrophically, hilariously, terrifyingly wrong. "Her vitals are stable," I said, checking the monitors. "Elevated cortisol levels, but that appears to be baseline for her species. Heart rate is steady. She is definitely conscious." "Then what is she doing?" Vethix demanded. As if in answer, Kira's eyes snapped open. They were brown, deep, and dark, like the soil of her home world, and they fixed directly on the observation window. On us. The corners of her mouth lifted into something that might have been a smile if it didn't look so much like a predator baring its teeth. "Oh, that is not encouraging," I muttered. Kira unfolded herself and stood with the kind of fluid grace that made my survival instincts scream warnings. She walked to the center of the cell, never breaking eye contact with the observation window, and spoke in her native language. The translator chip rendered it into our tongue with a slight delay. "You know what the funny thing is?" Her voice carried a rough quality, like grinding stones. "I was a teacher. 3rd grade. 8-year-olds. I taught them about fractions and photosynthesis and why they shouldn't eat glue." Vethix's mandibles clicked nervously. "What is she talking about?" "And then you bastards show up," Kira continued, her smile widening. "And you take me. Not a soldier, not a politician, not anyone important. Just me, Kira Volkov, trying to buy groceries on a Tuesday afternoon. Wrong place, wrong time. Or maybe, from where I am standing, exactly the right place at exactly the right time." She began stretching, rolling her shoulders, flexing her fingers. The movements seemed casual, but I noticed the calculation behind each motion. She was testing her range of movement, checking for injuries, preparing. "Commander, perhaps we should increase the sedation protocols," I suggested quietly. "We tried that twice," Vethix snapped. "Her metabolism processes it too quickly. Do you have any idea how much chemical sedative it would take to keep her down? We would poison her before we subdued her." Kira walked to the far wall of her cell and ran her hand along the smooth surface. Our cells were designed to be escape-proof. Seamless walls, no protrusions, nothing that could be used as a weapon or tool. The only opening was a small slot near the floor for delivering meals, and that was controlled remotely. "Your walls are interesting," she said conversationally. "Some kind of polymer composite, right? Strong, light. Probably costs more than my annual salary back home. Very impressive." She pressed her palm flat against the wall. "But you know what? It still has seams. Everything has seams. You just have to know where to look." "She cannot possibly," Vethix began. Kira slammed her fist into the wall at a specific point near the floor. On the 4th strike, a hairline fracture appeared. On the 7th strike, a chunk of the polymer broke free, no larger than my claw, but sharp as any blade. "Oh, ancestors, preserve us," I whispered. She held up the shard, examining it in the blue light of the containment field. "Not bad. Not great, but not bad. You work with what you have, right? That is what I always told my kids. Make do with what you have got." The next part happened faster than my eye stalks could properly track. Kira crossed the cell in 3 long strides and drove the shard directly into the control panel beside the food slot. Sparks erupted. The containment field flickered. "Security to Containment Block 7. Vethix barked into his communicator. "Now." The field died completely. The door mechanism, tied to the same circuit, groaned and began to slide open. "You know what else I taught my kids?" Kira said, stepping through the opening door. She still held the polymer shard, now gripped like a knife. Blood dripped from her knuckles, where the repeated impacts had split her skin. She did not seem to notice or care. I taught them that bullies only understand one language. And I taught them that sometimes, when someone takes something from you, you have got every right to take it back with interest. 3 security officers rounded the corner at full sprint, pulse rifles raised. They were Kaldrathi warriors, each standing twice Kira's height, armored in combat exoskeletons, trained from birth for conflict. Kira threw the polymer shard. It tumbled, end over end, and buried itself in the lead officer's visual sensor cluster. He went down screaming. The second officer fired. The pulse blast went wide as Kira was already moving, using the fallen officer's body as cover. She grabbed his rifle, but instead of trying to fire it, she swung it like a club into the second officer's knee joint. The exoskeleton crumpled with a satisfying crunch. The third officer tried to aim, but Kira was inside his reach now, climbing his armored body like it was a jungle gym. She got behind his head and twisted with her full body weight. Something in his neck assembly snapped. The entire encounter lasted maybe 15 seconds. "This is impossible," Vethix breathed. "She has no armor, no weapons, no training." "I beg to differ on that last point, Commander," I said, watching Kira strip the rifle from the unconscious officer. "I think we severely miscalculated what qualifies as training for this species." Kira checked the rifle with practiced efficiency, found the charge indicator, and nodded to herself. Then she looked directly at our observation window again. "You wanted to study humans?" she called out. "Well, here is your first lesson. We are really, really good at holding grudges." She raised the rifle and fired. The observation window, rated to withstand direct plasma strikes, held for approximately 2 shots before spiderwebbing. On the 3rd shot, it shattered completely. Vethix and I scrambled backward. I activated the emergency bulkhead, but Kira was through the gap before it could close, rolling across the floor and coming up in a firing stance that would have made any marksman proud. "Please do not shoot," I said, raising my manipulator appendages in what I hoped was a universal gesture of surrender. "I am just a researcher. And I am just a teacher," Kira replied. "Funny how things change. What do you want?" Vethix demanded, trying to sound authoritative despite the tremor in his voice sacs. Kira tilted her head, considering. "That is an excellent question. Initially, I just wanted to go home, have dinner, grade some papers, live my boring, wonderful little life. But you took that option off the table when you abducted me. So now? Now I want information. I want to know where we are, where your friends are, and how to get back to Earth." "We will never cooperate," Vethix said. Kira laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "You know, Commander, whatever your name is, that is exactly the wrong thing to say to someone who spent 5 years teaching children. Do you have any idea how stubborn an 8-year-old can be? How many times I have had to negotiate with tiny humans who would rather starve than eat vegetables? I have psychological warfare experience you cannot even comprehend." She gestured with the rifle toward the corridor. "Start walking. Take me to your command center, your navigation systems, whatever you call it. And if you try anything clever, I will introduce you to another thing humans are really good at." "Which is?" I asked, unable to help myself. "Improvisation." We walked. What choice did we have? This human, this teacher of children, had neutralized 6 trained warriors in under a minute, with nothing but her bare hands and a piece of broken wall. The rational part of my brain insisted this should not be possible. The part of my brain currently screaming in terror insisted that rationality was overrated. Kira kept the rifle trained on Vethix while maintaining awareness of the corridor around us. Her eyes constantly scanned for threats, exits, opportunities. It was like watching a predator navigate unfamiliar territory. Every sense heightened, every muscle ready to explode into action. "Tell me about your species," she said, as we walked. "Not a request, a command." "We are the Kaldrathi," I said, deciding cooperation might extend my lifespan. "A spacefaring civilization spanning 42 star systems. We have been exploring this region of the galaxy for approximately 3,000 cycles." 42 systems, Kira repeated. "That is a lot of real estate. I bet you did not ask permission before moving in, did you?" "Conquest is the nature of expansion," Vethix said stiffly. "The strong prosper. The weak are absorbed. This is universal law." "Universal law," Kira said flatly. "Right. Let me tell you about another universal law, Commander. Push something hard enough, and it pushes back. We have got a saying on Earth: do not poke the bear. You guys did not just poke the bear. You walked into its cave, kicked it in the face, and then acted surprised when it stood up. We reached an intersection. Kira made us stop while she checked both directions. More security teams would be converging on our location. She had to know this, yet she showed no signs of panic, no hesitation. "How many?" she asked suddenly. "How many?" "What?" I said. "How many humans did you take? How many people are on this ship right now? Locked in cells like the one you had me in?" I checked my data pad with trembling manipulators. 47 specimens total, collected from various regions of your planet over the past 12 rotations. Kira's jaw clenched. The muscle in her cheek twitched. 47 people. 47 lives disrupted. Families destroyed. Futures stolen. For what? Research? Labor? Entertainment? Scientific advancement, Vethix said. Resource evaluation. Standard protocols for newly discovered species. Standard protocols, Kira echoed. She took a deep breath, held it, released it slowly. Okay. Change of plans. We are not going to the command center. We are going to wherever you are keeping those 47 people. You are going to release them. All of them. And then, we are going to have a very serious discussion about those standard protocols of yours. That is impossible, Vethix said. Even if we wanted to, which we do not. Releasing that many subjects would create chaos. They would panic, injure themselves, damage critical systems. Kira smiled again. That terrible, predatory smile. Commander, let me explain something about humans. When you take us from everything we know, lock us in boxes, treat us like lab animals, you do not break us. You just make us angry. And angry humans with a common enemy? That is not chaos. That is an army. Alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red emergency lighting bathed the corridors in crimson. Lockdown protocols activated. A synthetic voice announced in Kaldrathi. All personnel report to defensive stations. Containment breach in progress. Too late, Kira said cheerfully. Somebody found the door button. Let me guess. You put all of us in the same section? Standard containment protocols? That is adorable. Really, it truly is. The sound reached us then. Distant at first, but growing louder. Shouting. Screaming. The crash of equipment being destroyed. The thunder of feet running, not fleeing. Advancing. What have you done? Vethix whispered. Me? Nothing yet. But you see, when I hit that control panel in my cell, I did not just break my door. I broke yours. The circuits are all connected, right? One big system? I noticed that when I was watching through your observation window, saw the schematics on your monitor. You really should password protect those, by the way. Around the corner came the first wave. Humans. Men, women, different ages, different sizes, all wearing the same gray prisoner uniforms. Some carried improvised weapons. Some carried actual Kaldrathi equipment they had taken from guards. All of them wore expressions of pure, focused fury. At their head was a tall woman with silver hair, holding a plasma cutter like a sword. She saw Kira and stopped, raising a fist. The group behind her halted immediately. "You the one who opened the doors?" the silver-haired woman asked. "Guilty," Kira said. "Helena Vasquez. Mechanical engineer? Denver, Colorado. Kira Volkov. Teacher, Portland, Oregon. Nice to meet you." "What is the plan?" "Working on it," Kira admitted. "But step 1 is getting everyone home. Step 2 is making sure these folks understand exactly what kind of mistake they made. Step 3 is probably improvised based on how the first 2 go." "Sounds reasonable," Helena said. She addressed the group behind her. "Listen up. We are going home. But first, we are going to teach these alien jerks about human hospitality." A cheer went up. 47 voices raised in defiant unity. It echoed through the corridors of our ship like thunder. I looked at Commander Vethix. His eye stalks had gone pale with shock. "This is not possible," he muttered. "This is not how first contact scenarios are supposed to unfold." "Welcome to Earth's standard protocols." Commander Vethix tried to access his command, override through his wrist communicator, but Helena was faster. She grabbed his appendage and crushed the device with the plasma cutter, sparks flying like angry fireflies. "Nope," she said simply. "No phone calls." I watched the group of humans organize themselves with terrifying efficiency. A younger male, maybe in his 20s, stepped forward. He had burns on his arms from what looked like electrical exposure. "Marcus Webb, IT specialist from Austin," he said to Kira. "I've been watching their systems while they ran tests on me. Their network architecture is actually pretty basic once you get past the alien interface. Give me 10 minutes in their server room, and I can lock them out of everything." "Can you find navigation from there?" Kira asked. "Can I find navigation?" "Lady, I can find their browser history if you want. These folks have decent ships, but their cybersecurity is stuck in the Stone Age." A shorter woman pushed through the crowd, favoring her left leg. "Jamie Park, medical resident from Seattle. We've got people hurt, some worse than others. I need supplies and a place to set up." Kira nodded, processing information like a general assembling battle plans. This was not the same person who sat motionless in her cell for 6 rotations. Or maybe it was, and she had just been waiting, conserving energy, and planning. "Helena, take half the group and secure the lower decks," Kira said. "Look for supplies, weapons, anything useful. Jamie goes with you. Find her medical equipment. Marcus, you're with me. We're going to the server room and then the bridge. Everyone else, stay mobile and keep these corridors clear." "What about them?" Helena gestured at Vethix and me with her plasma cutter. Kira looked at us with those dark, calculating eyes. "They're coming with us. Insurance, leverage, entertainment. Pick your favorite." "I vote entertainment," Marcus said, grinning. "I want to see their faces when they realize 47 angry humans are scarier than their entire security force." The group dispersed with remarkable coordination. No arguing, no panic, just people who understood their situation and acted accordingly. Within seconds, the corridor was empty, except for Kira, Marcus, Vethix, and myself. "Move," Kira said, gesturing with the rifle. We moved. What else could we do? As we walked, Marcus chatted casually, like he was on a tour rather than a hostage situation. "You know what's wild? I spent 3 days in that cell, thinking about my cat, Mr. Whiskers. Stupid name. I know. But my niece picked it. I kept thinking, Who's going to feed Mr. Whiskers? Who's going to clean his litter box? And then I thought, if these aliens can travel between stars, they should have figured out basic diplomatic protocols, right? Like, maybe send a message first? Exchange ambassadors? Not just yank people out of their lives like we're collectible toys? Your species was evaluated as pre-contact civilization, Vethix said defensively. Standard procedures dictate limited interaction to prevent cultural contamination. Cultural contamination, Marcus repeated. That's rich. You contaminated my culture by stealing me from it, genius. We reached the server room. Marcus studied the door panel for maybe 30 seconds before pulling off the cover and rearranging some crystalline components. The door slid open. See? Stone Age security, he said, stepping inside. The server room was filled with columns of glowing data cores, each one pulsing with information. Marcus approached the nearest terminal and placed his hands on the interface pad. His eyes unfocused slightly as he processed what he was seeing. Okay, this is actually kind of cool, he admitted. Quantum processing arrays, neural network integration, and is that organic memory storage? You guys are doing some interesting work here. Wrong, morally bankrupt, and incredibly stupid, but interesting. His fingers moved across the interface with growing confidence. All right, let's see. Primary systems locked behind biometric authentication. Except, whoops, someone left a maintenance backdoor open. And would you look at that? The maintenance account has full administrative access. Who designed this? Was it Steve? It's always Steve. What are you doing? I asked, horrified fascination overcoming my fear. Redecorating, Marcus said cheerfully. First, I'm locking out all security protocols. There, no more automated defenses. Second, I'm finding your ship's manifest. 47 humans, like the researcher said, plus crew complement of 312 Kaldrathi. Third, I'm accessing your navigation database. Oh, this is helpful. You've got Earth's coordinates, FTL jump routes, communication frequencies. You basically gave me your entire playbook. Alarms blared again. Different ones this time, more urgent. And fourth, Marcus continued, I'm broadcasting a message on all channels. Let's see, how should I phrase this? He cleared his throat dramatically. Attention, Kaldrathi personnel. This is Marcus Webb of Earth. Your ship is now under new management. All security forces are to stand down immediately. Any resistance will be met with extreme prejudice, and possibly some very sarcastic commentary. You have abducted the wrong species from the wrong planet. We're taking our people home, and you're going to help us. That is not a request. Sincerely, the Reglaive. Humans, you should not have messed with. He hit send. His message, translated into Kaldrathi, echoed through every speaker on the ship. You're insane, Vethix said. You cannot commandeer a sovereignty vessel. The response will be overwhelming. Yeah? Where's your backup? Kira asked. Because from where I'm standing, you're alone in hostile territory, with two humans who have every reason to be extremely upset with you. I like those odds. A voice crackled over the communication system. This is Lieutenant Threxus to Commander Vethix. We're receiving conflicting reports. Human subjects have breached containment and are occupying multiple sections. Request orders. Kira pressed her rifle against Vethix's back. Tell them to stand down. Never, Vethix said. Kira sighed. Marcus, can you access life support systems? Already there? Marcus said, not looking up from the terminal. Reduce oxygen levels in all crew quarters by 20%. Nothing dangerous, just uncomfortable. Done. Within seconds, Vethix's breathing became labored. His eye stalks drooped slightly. You're torturing my crew, he gasped. I'm incentivizing cooperation, Kira corrected. Big difference. Now, are you going to give that order? Or do we need to have a longer conversation about human creativity when it comes to non-lethal pressure tactics? Vethix hesitated, then activated his communicator. All units, stand down. Comply with human directives. This is a direct order. Restore oxygen, Kira told Marcus. You got it, boss. The crisis tone in the ship's atmosphere changed. Breathable air flooded back into crew quarters. Kira lowered her rifle slightly but did not put it away. Good choice, she said. Now let's visit your bridge. I want to meet whoever's in charge of this operation. The walk to the bridge felt longer than it should have. Every corridor seemed to stretch into infinity, the blue lighting casting strange shadows that made my imagination conjure threats in every corner. We passed several crew members along the way. They pressed themselves against walls, eye stalks wide with confusion and fear. These were Kaldrathi warriors, scouts, engineers. They had seen combat, navigated hostile environments, survived encounters with dangerous fauna on a dozen worlds. But they had never seen anything like Kira Volkov. The bridge doors opened automatically, recognizing Vethix's biometric signature. Inside, the command crew stood at their stations, frozen like prey animals that hoped stillness would save them. At the center of the bridge sat High Coordinator Ixthel, supreme commander of this expedition. She was older than most Kaldrathi, her carapace showing the scars of decades of service. Her eye stalks fixed on us, with an expression I had never seen her wear before. Fear. Commander Vethix, she said slowly. Would you care to explain why I'm receiving reports of human subjects roaming freely throughout my ship? Your ship had a change in ownership, Kira said, stepping forward. Hostile takeover. You understand. Ixthel's attention shifted to Kira. They regarded each other for a long moment, predator and predator, each assessing the other's strengths and weaknesses. You are the one from Containment Cell 7, Ixthel said finally. The teacher. Guilty as charged, Kira replied. And you're the one who ordered our abduction, the High Coordinator. I've been looking forward to meeting you. What do you want? That's the second time someone's asked me that today, Kira said. Shows a real lack of imagination. What I want is simple. You're going to take us home. All 47 of us, alive and unharmed. You're going to provide us with copies of your navigation database, your communication protocols, and a detailed apology that I'm going to personally deliver to every government on Earth. Impossible, Ixthel said, even if I wanted to comply, which I do not. Returning you to Earth would violate every protocol regarding pre-contact civilizations. Your species would gain access to technology and knowledge that could destabilize your entire developmental trajectory. Kira laughed, sharp and bitter. You violated those protocols the moment you kidnapped us. You don't get to hide behind rules you already broke. That's not how this works. If I refuse, then Marcus here shuts down your engines mid-flight and we drift through space until someone finds us. Could be days, could be years, could be never. I'm patient. I've got time. Do you? Marcus waved from the server access terminal he had already begun infiltrating. Life support's good for maybe 8 months, if we ration carefully. After that, things get dicey. Your call, High Coordinator. Ixthel's mandibles clicked in rapid succession, a sign of extreme agitation. You would doom your own people along with my crew? In a heartbeat, Kira said without hesitation. Because, here's what you don't understand about humans. We're really, really bad at cost-benefit analysis when someone threatens our family. And you made 46 other people my family the moment you locked us in those cells. So yes, I will absolutely doom everyone on this ship if it means you don't get to walk away from this like nothing happened. The bridge fell silent except for the soft hum of ship systems and the occasional beep of monitoring equipment. You're bluffing, Ixthel said, but her voice lacked conviction. Am I? Helena, status report, please. Helena's voice crackled over the communication system. Lower decks secured. Found the armory. Turns out, your weapons lockers have the same Stone Age security as everything else. We're armed, supplied, and ready for a long stay if needed. Also, Jamie says hi, and wants you to know she found your medical bay and is very impressed with the surgical equipment. Thanks, Helena. Marcus, kill the engines. Wait, Ixtel said sharply. Marcus paused, fingers hovering over the interface. Waiting. Ixtel slumped in her command chair, the weight of command suddenly visible in every line of her body. You win, human. I will take you home. Smart choice, Kira said. But I'm not done. Before we leave, you're going to delete every piece of data you collected about Earth and its inhabitants. Every genetic sample, every cultural observation, every navigational reference. Gone. That represents years of research, I protested without thinking. Kira turned those dark eyes on me. And it represents our privacy, our safety, our right not to be lab rats for your scientific curiosity. Delete it, or I'll have Marcus scramble your entire database so thoroughly you'll be lucky to remember your own names. I can totally do that, Marcus confirmed. It would actually be kind of fun. Unacceptable, Ixtel said. The Sovereignty Council will demand explanation for this mission's failure. Without data, I have nothing to show for our expedition. Here's your data, Kira said, stepping closer to Ixtel's command throne. Humans are dangerous when provoked. Humans value freedom above survival. Humans work together when threatened. Humans hold grudges. There's your report. Write it down, memorize it, tattoo it on your face. I don't care. But that data about Earth? That's ours, and you're not keeping it. The standoff lasted for what felt like eternity, but was probably only 30 seconds. Finally, Ixtel gestured to one of her bridge officers. Purge all Earth-related files from the database. Authorization. Ixtel, High Coordinator. Priority Override Omega. Purge confirmed, the officer said, reluctantly. All collected data regarding species designation, human and planet designation. Earth third, now erasing. Process completion in 60 seconds. We watched the progress bar crawl across the display. With each percentage point, I felt years of research vanishing into the void. Part of me mourned the loss of knowledge. Another part, the part that had spent the last hour watching humans operate, understood exactly why it had to go. Purge complete, the officer announced. Good, Kira said. Now set course for Earth, maximum speed. I want to be home in time for the weekend. The navigation officer looked at Ixtel, who gave a tired nod of confirmation. Course plotted. FTL jump in 30 minutes. The next half hour passed in tense silence. The humans from the lower decks gradually filtered onto the bridge, curious to see where the journey would end. They filled the space with their presence, 47 humans standing among 300 Kaldrathi, and somehow we felt outnumbered. Jamie approached Kira with a medical scanner. Let me check those hands. You did some damage to yourself breaking through that wall. Kira allowed the examination. Worth it. Probably, Jamie agreed, applying a bandage. But next time, try punching something softer. I'll keep that in mind. The FTL drive powered up. A deep thrumming that resonated through the ship's hull. Reality bent around us as we slipped into faster-than-light travel, crossing distances that would take lifetimes at normal speeds. Earth appeared on the view screen after what felt like both an eternity and no time at all. That blue-green marble, hanging in space, wrapped in white clouds. The humans fell silent, staring at their home with expressions of longing, relief, and joy. There she is, Marcus whispered. Home. Take us to orbit, Kira ordered. High orbit. I don't want your ship anywhere near our atmosphere. Ixtel complied without argument. The ship settled into a stable orbit, Earth filling half the view screen. Now comes the tricky part, Helena said. How do we get down there? Your shuttles don't exactly blend in. Not my problem anymore, Kira said. She looked at Ixtel. You're going to broadcast a message to Earth. Tell them exactly what you did. Tell them you're returning their people. Tell them this is a one-time violation and it will never happen again. And then you're going to send us down in your shuttles? Consequences be damned. That will expose our existence to your entire planet, Ixthel protested. First contact protocols are already violated beyond repair, Kira interrupted. You made first contact the moment you grabbed your first human. Now, you get to deal with the fallout. Send the message. Ixthel looked around her bridge, perhaps hoping someone would offer an alternative solution. No one did. Finally, she activated the planetary broadcast system. "Attention, planet Earth," she began, and her voice carried the weight of defeat. "This is High Coordinator Ixthel of the Kaldrathi Sovereignty. We are a spacefaring civilization that has been observing your world. In violation of our own protocols, we abducted 47 of your people for research purposes. This was wrong. This was unjust. This was a mistake we will not repeat. We are returning your people unharmed. We mean you no further threat. This transmission includes our formal apology and assurance that we will not return." The humans known as Kira Volkov, Helena Vasquez, and Marcus Webb speak for all those we wronged. Listen to them. Learn from them. And please, do not judge all extraterrestrial life by our actions. She ended the transmission and looked at Kira with something approaching respect. "Satisfied? Getting there?" Kira said. "Now, about those shuttles. The descent took 3 hours, complicated by Earth's orbital traffic monitoring and the sudden appearance of military jets scrambling to intercept. Marcus managed to broadcast reassurances using Earth's communication frequencies, his IT expertise translating alien technology into messages that made sense to human air traffic controllers. The shuttle touched down in an open field outside Portland, Oregon, not far from where Kira had been taken. Emergency vehicles surrounded them, lights flashing, personnel ready for anything from an invasion to a plague. The shuttle door opened. Kira stepped out first, squinting in the sunlight that looked different from the blue-white artificial lighting of the Kaldrathi ship. Real sunshine, Earth sunshine. Behind her came the others, 47 humans returning home, blinking like people waking from a bad dream. Medical teams rushed forward. Government officials tried to establish order. News helicopters circled overhead. It was chaos. Glorious human chaos. A woman pushed through the crowd, tears streaming down her face. "Marcus! Marcus!" Marcus ran to her, wrapping her in a hug that lifted her off her feet. "Mom! Oh God, Mom! I'm so sorry. I should have been there. I should have—" "You're home!" she sobbed. "That's all that matters. You're home." Similar scenes played out across the field as families reunited, friends embraced, lovers kissed. 47 stories of loss, suddenly becoming 47 stories of return. Kira stood apart from it all, watching. She had no family rushing to meet her, no partner waiting, just her. Kira Volkov, third-grade teacher who had become something else entirely for a few terrifying days. A government official approached her cautiously. "Miss Volkov? I'm Agent Morrison, Homeland Security. We need to debrief you and the others. There are questions, procedures, protocols." "Later," Kira said firmly. "Right now, these people need time. They need space. They need to remember what it feels like to be human instead of specimens. Your questions can wait." Morrison looked like he wanted to argue, but something in Kira's eyes stopped him. The same thing that had stopped Commander Vethix. The same thing that had convinced High Coordinator Ixthel to surrender her ship without firing a shot. "Tomorrow then," Morrison said. "But tomorrow for certain. The world is going to want answers. The world will get them," Kira promised. "Just not today." Above them, the Kaldrathi shuttle returned to orbit. The mothership prepared to jump back into FTL, eager to put distance between themselves and the planet that had humbled them so completely. I stood on the bridge beside Ixthel, watching Earth shrink on the view screen. Research Specialist Morven, Ixthel said quietly. You will prepare a full report on this incident. Every detail, every moment. I want the Council to understand exactly what happened here. What will you tell them? I asked. That we encountered a species unlike any we have known. That we made assumptions based on their technology level and ignored every other warning sign. That they turned our own ship against us, using nothing but determination and improvisation. That they showed mercy when they could have chosen revenge. That they are, without question, unsuitable for subjugation or exploitation. She paused, eye stalks focused on the blue-green world below. And that if we are wise, we will mark this system as forbidden territory and pray we never encounter humanity again under different circumstances. Because next time, they might not be teachers. They might be soldiers. And if this is what one teacher can do, I have no desire to learn what their warriors are capable of. The FTL drive engaged. Reality bent. Earth vanished from view. Somewhere below, in a field in Oregon, Kira Volkov looked up at the stars and smiled. They had forged steel under alien eyes, and she had carved her weapon from bone and fury. But more than that, she had shown them something fundamental about her species. Humans could be taken. Humans could be caged. Humans could be studied and measured and catalogued. But humans could never, ever be broken. Not without one hell of a fight.